What up, y'all? It's your boy Carter TV. I know it's been a couple, almost 2 weeks now since I gave y'all a video, but I'm back. I'm gonna give y'all a love story for this video. Trying to fall back on the hood shit for right now. This love story is about a young lady who has Down syndrome, but she falls in love. She's a white girl, falls in love with a black guy. And, you know, her side of the family don't condone it due to the fact that the dude is black. Now the black guy, his family don't really condone it because the young lady has Down syndrome. You feel me? So it's almost kind of like a Romeo and Juliet thing, but it is a love story. You feel me? It is a love story. The young lady name is Cynthia. She's about 22 years old. And the guy name is John, and he's about 21 years old. They met at the workplace. Now, the workplace is a program for, you know, people with disabilities. That means Cynthia has a disability, she has Down syndrome. And John is one of the employees there. They met there, you know, at first they didn't like each other. They had differences on different things. John basically judged her because of her appearance, and he assumed that she couldn't operate alone on her own. And that kind of made Cynthia a little angry and frustrated with John because he didn't know her. You feel me? He didn't know her. He didn't get to know her. He came into the job. He just assumed everybody there was helpless and hopeless. That's why he's there. Until, you know, some of the other employees is basically telling John, like, yo, you got to fall back a little bit. Cynthia can do things on her own. You know, she pushes herself. They was basically informing him, like, to let Cynthia do certain things on her own because she could do it. She's trying to better herself. You know, she's trying to learn how to, you know, adapt to adult life. So John was just like, okay, I just, you know, assume, and that's what he was wrong at. So, you know, for the first 6 months of him being at this job, him and Cynthia would bump heads. And they got to the point where Cynthia was like coming at him with sticks, knives, anything she got her hands on because John was frustrating her and not letting her be her. You know what I'm saying? He was supposed to, you know, just guide her through, not do everything for her. He was basically just telling her, don't do that. No, you can't do it like this. And he kind of was blocking her from her growing as an adult. So as time went on, they were bumping heads for the first 6 months on the job until, you know, he actually had to sit back and watch her do certain things on her own. So he sat back and watched her read a book on her own. He sat back and watched her, you know, fill out a job application. You know, he watched her interact with other, you know, adults, other individuals herself. So as that went on and he started to notice, you know, he walked up to us like, Cynthia, you know, I know we bumped heads. I'm new to the job. Forgive me. I apologize for how things got rocky with us in the beginning. You know, I just assumed that everybody needed some type of assistance. And she, you know, she kind of was surprised at it. She, you know, she gave him that, oh, it's all right, it's okay, you didn't know. But you know, I'm pretty sure, she was like, you know, I'm pretty sure that, you know, the other, you know, workers told you that I can do certain things on my own. And he was like, yeah, I agree. They did. I just, you know, just assumed you needed help, you know, and I just wanted to help. I just wanted to help. So after that, they kind of hit it off. They kind of was just talking on a regular, you know, having genuine conversations and stuff like that. And then their genuine conversations kind of grew into them liking each other. So he started sharing her things that he liked, like video games and books and going to the library. And she was into the certain things he was into. He was into country music and R&B. She was into hip hop and R&B, you know, so they had certain differences, but some other things they liked. You know, he played video games, he streamed. She was into playing video games and streaming. She just didn't know how to set up certain things. And, you know, he was not supposed to do this, but he did it anyway. He gave her phone number, and the conversations continued on from texting and calling. You know, her parents is like always concerned. Like, she's always on the phone with this one person, and they're always talking, and then they're always on a video game. The parents, they know that Cynthia was into streaming video games. She was into talking to people online, which they didn't really they really condoned it because they felt like she was going to be bullied if she told people what type of person she was. So she went on the internet. Basically, it was like, oh, I'm a person with Down syndrome. The parents assumed they would bully her. You know what I'm saying? But she would just play video games with John, and they would see that she's happy playing video games. So they didn't bother her. They didn't say nothing. They just, let it go on, being that she was in a good place. Whenever they heard her like yelling or screaming or something like that, they just assumed somebody was trying to bully her on the internet. And it wasn't the case. It was her screaming of joy or happy, this and that, third. Just, a little excitement. So he basically showed her how to stream through talking. He never went to her house. John never went to her house. He basically just coached her through it. You know what I'm saying? Told her what to do and how to set it up. And, he showed her videos, stuff like that on YouTube that she could use to set up her own, video game system. So with that going on, they clicked. They kind of fell for each other, real fast. After work hours, after work, he would sneak off to try to go see her they would meet up at the library. They do meetups at the library. Her parents would drop off at the library, and he would go to the library straight after work. They would wait for each other. They would see each other. They would talk. And after that, the relationship became more intimate, 3 months. So he'd been on the job a total of 9 months. And out of them 9 months, 3 of the months he became intimate with the young lady. She was older than him. And, it just didn't seem right because he worked supporting her. You know what I'm saying? It just didn't seem right that you dating this woman that you support. She's on your job. Like, see somebody, you go to your job and you work for, technically. So he didn't look at it like that. He looked at it as another person. I like her. I dig her. We always have fun together, this and that, the third. They go to the library. They go out for ice cream. They've been going on little dates. Regular little dates, like the library, going out for ice cream, going to the park and sitting down, feeding the birds. Little shit, you know what I'm saying? So their relationship became more intimate and everything. And it got real intimate, with them kissing all in public. One of the employees seen him and was telling him like, yo, what you doing, bro? She had the job and all, like, you can't be doing that. Like, you can get in trouble. So he kind of was like, fuck it, I didn't care. I like her. I'm falling for her. And it went all up from there, and until he was just like, he can get in trouble. So 2 of the employees seen him there. The one employee seen him in the park with her. And the next employee seen him at the movies with Shorty. Coming out the movie, seeing them together, holding hands, looking like a real couple. You understand what I'm saying? And he didn't care. He was really into this woman. She was really into him. He didn't see her for Down syndrome. He saw her for the beautiful woman she was. Now, she was white and he was black. People in the community was judging them. So they get a lot of judge, with eyes, little whispers. But that ain't stop him from being with her. You know what I'm saying? That ain't stop him from being with her. People in his neighborhood bullied him like, oh, you dating that ugly girl, this and that and the third. She retarded, calling her name, this and that and the third. That bothered him to the point where he was getting physical with people who disrespected her name. So, every now and then he would have fights in his neighborhood defending her. He got jumped a few times. He took a few ass whoopings, but he also gave a few out. He went to work one day, beat up, black eye, scars. And she seen him and she was just like, she couldn't be really intimate with him at work due to the situation, but she was being there for him. You know what I'm saying? She was texting him while he was at work, and he was kind of frustrated because of all the shit he was hearing. And then, they got around at the job that he was dating this young lady. And it was going to get serious if people higher up heard about it. So what now happens is, he didn't really speak to Samantha. He didn't really speak to the young lady like the whole day because he came in with bruises. He was frustrated from hearing what everybody was saying about him. So he was just really tuned out. He was frustrated. He didn't know how to sit there and tell her that he's going through these emotions. He was basically hiding them from her And he was basically exploding at work at people like, yo, leave me the fuck alone, I'm not in the mood. People knew that he had bruises. He was in a few fights. People looked and saw that. So they probably thought something was going on at home. So some of the employees let him be. He kind of had an incident with one of the individuals where he kind of just like raised his arms up, and it looked like he hit the individual, but he was kind of just like raising his arm up in frustration, and an individual was coming towards him and got hit. You know what I'm saying? Was coming towards him and got hit in the face. And one of the employees told he got a little situation where he had to be investigated for it. And, Samantha was just like crying the whole day because she wasn't speaking to him. He wasn't texting, wasn't calling, nothing. The whole day, it kind of left her in frustration. So she started wilding out. And she went home crying and frustrated, and the parents thought something had happened. They had thought something had happened. And this behavior went on for like the next 3 days. Them two not speaking. So them two not speaking, him dealing with shit that he got to deal with in the streets because of who he in love with. And he not expressing that to her. She went home and she kind of told her brother, her brother was like, who is this guy and that you so madly in love with? And she didn't want to say no more. So one night she was sleeping and the brother found the phone open, and it was a message from John saying, I'm sorry for not speaking to you. I was dealing with things at home and I apologize. Him basically let her know, like, I'm sorry for we not speaking. I apologize. I hope when you come back to program tomorrow, we can be cordial, we can speak. So the brother seen it, and he saw the pictures of who John was in the phone. And he told the parents, like, I think she's dating somebody at program. Now, they assumed that the person at program was just another individual. They assumed he was another individual, which they didn't find out he was an employee until the parents went there. The parents went there. It was just like, we just been informed, our daughter is dating. And they basically invaded her privacy. So when they went to the program, she was there, and her and John was, buddied up back to talking again. And the parents came. And when they came, they saw who John was. And they spoke to the other employees, like the manager was like, oh, he's the individual, John, right? And he was like, I'm not, like one of the managers goes, he's not an individual. So they go, wait a minute. He's not an individual. So the father was just like, you've been seeing my daughter and you work here, you're a worker? And the manager was kind of shocked by this and was like, wait, what? She's like, yeah, she's been texting this guy named John. And, Samantha was just kind of baffled by this because she was like, how did you know I was texting somebody? And the mother kind of brushed it off like, oh, well, So they was like, we basically went through your phone and we found out you and him been texting and talking, and a lot of phone calls been exchanged, a lot of hugs and kisses pictures been going on in your phone. They basically invaded her privacy. She didn't like it. She exploded at the job, threw a tantrum, throwing chairs towards her parents, and they had to basically calm her down. So they told John, like, calm her down. The manager spoke to him, was like, you can't date somebody, you can get fired. You have to end the relationship, especially if you're going to continue to work here. So John resigned from the job. He ends up resigning from the job that day. I'm quitting. So with her quitting, she automatically lashed out and was going through it. Like, you just push the guy like away due to the fact that he works here and I'm an individual. They was judging it, the relationship, because he was also black. You know what I'm saying? They were basically judging the relationship. And the parents took her phone away. So for like the first 2 months, they didn't have no kind of contact. They didn't have no contact with each other. They didn't see each other. They just was going through it. A lot of people in the hood thought he stopped dating this girl because they didn't see him with it no more. And, she found a way to see him. Basically, she found a way to see him. They kind of met on one of them random days at the library, ran into each other, hugged and kissed. And, they kind of reminisce what they've been doing over the last 2 months and not seeing each other. She said she basically told him, my father and them took my phone. I can't see you no more. They also don't like the fact that you're black, I'm white, I have Down syndrome, and they don't see us being together. So John didn't care about that. He said, I really love you. You know, he gave her a ring and he proposed to her in the library. He proposed to her in the library. And right after that, they went happily on. John had found another job, and with another job, he bought her a cell phone. You know, plugged his number in, and that was a way of her communicating. Now, through the whole time this is going on, the brother is watching. The brother is, you know, watching over his sister, seeing what she's doing in the street. You know, the parents ain't gonna let her roam the street by herself. Even though she's of age, she is an adult, but she also has Down syndrome, and they don't want her to get picked on. So they're overprotective, but the brother finds out that they're still dating. After, you know, John buys her the phone, they still communicate. The brother follows John to see where John lives and everything. Follow where John lives, goes to John's house, and get into an altercation with John, basically trying to fight him and tell him, you can't see my sister, this and that and the third, you come near her, I'll kill you, and all this and all of that, right? With that going on, they get into a big situation where they're fighting in the street, you know, and the brother's kicking John's ass. He picks up a pipe and beats the shit out of John. Then it beats him to death. Stay away from my fucking sister, you fucking nigger. Call her all types of slurs. This is happening in John's neighborhood. And in John's neighborhood, they wasn't feeling it. So, you know, some of John's, you know, friends in the neighborhood saw it. They rushed over, helped him. They beat the dude up. They beat the boy up. They beat him up. The cops came. And, you know, they helped John in the crib. They beat the boy up. And the cops asking what happened. The neighborhood don't know nothing. And after that, the parents is just like, what happened to the brother? And the brother basically told him, John beat me up. He damn near killed me because I found out him and my sister are still dating. So the sister found out, and she was like, you beat my brother up? You beat my brother up? Why would you do that? I said, I didn't beat him up. He came to my house and he beat me up. This is what he did to me. And he took pictures of his scars and bruises. And somebody in the neighborhood had the video. And they sent it to John, and John sent it to her. Now, before she could actually look at the video, she had put her phone down. And the parents came in the room. She hid the phone. And they said, I told you, see what happens when you date niggers, black guys. Look what they did to your brother, and they near to beat her to death. So the father told some of his white friends. They went looking for John. They found John. Right? They found John where he worked. And late at night, they stalked him. And John found out he was being followed. And he ran back to his neighborhood where they stopped following him. And they found out where John lived. Now, after that situation, Samantha still never looked at the video. Her and John linked up. And, you know, they had a conversation. And they also had sex. This is the first time they had sex with each other. And this is basically them two losing their virginities together. They were both virgins. And they had sex. You know, that kind of made the relationship much stronger. And she actually saw the bruises that John had. And she was like, you know, I still can't see you due to the fact of the situation with my brother. My father's not going to let me see you. Which they found where Samantha went at this time. They snatched her up. They was in a hotel. Let me say this. They was in a hotel where they first had sex together. That's when they really became intimate. And it was like she told him, I love you after that. And the relationship came much stronger. But the father was following her. Found out where she was, and it was a hotel. So he waited. As a father, why would you wait? Why not go in there and get your daughter? But he waited. He knew he would catch John. So she came out first. And when she came out, that's when the father rushed in. Snatched her up. The other two guys grabbed John, beat him up, threw him in the trunk, right? They took him somewhere in the woods and they killed John. And she never heard from John after that. So basically, John was missing for about a whole week. She knew what was up, but she couldn't say nothing. So with that going on, the love story takes a big turn for her because she ends up getting pregnant. And she didn't tell the family. She ended up running away. You know, she had some money. She took money from her parents. She took her dad and her mom's credit cards, and she ran the fuck away. She jumped on the next bus somewhere out of state and ran the fuck away. She went to a different state, got comfortable there and all of this and all that. And when she finally got comfortable there, like after like a good month of reading over their text messages and, you know, basically not hearing from him, that's when she found out she was pregnant. She seen the video of her brother and John fighting, and basically her brother beating him up. She started dreading tears. She went to a new state. She met new friends. They embraced her. The family never seen her again. And the police was calling, looking for her. And what she did was basically send a video to the police stating what happened with John. And the family was just outraged because the brother did it. The police assumed that the brother killed John, and he didn't, and nobody was never arrested on the case. It was just, you know, investigation. Nobody was ever found. John died, and she ended up having John's baby, who was a healthy, strong, black and white baby with no health issues. And she raised this baby on her own. You know what I'm saying? She raised this baby on her own, and she was happy. But she was also sad because the dad had died. And she knew how the dad died. Her family killed John. You know, her family killed John because he was black. And the family didn't want her to, because they felt like they couldn't be together. You know what I'm saying? But John didn't care. He loved that young lady. And the best gift he gave her was giving her a child in remembrance of him. She moved on with her life, and she never spoke to her family again. It's your boy, Escalating TV. I'm out. Daily shout out for my last video. I gotta give a shout out to Ella Welcome. She was the first. We had a small brief conversation. Shout out to Chris Debolt. I don't know how you say that name. Shout out to J3. Shout out to Andrea Robinson. Shout out to you. And shout out to Steph. Those are the 5 people that comment on my last previous video. Be the first to comment. Get a fucking shout out. P.S. I'm also looking to do videos with people. If you're in the New York area and you want to do skits, funny videos, or if you're working on a YouTube web series, I'm looking to join. Hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, you know, message me. Let's work together. You know what I'm saying? So hit me up. It's your boy Escalating TV, and I'm out.